What's up YouTube? Let's talk about tuning drum samples. Let's dive in and have a look. So I've got a couple of djembe drum samples that I've put into this project, and I'm starting to notice that the sort of fundamental body or the tone of these drums is not quite in the key of the track. And one thing that happens when you start to transpose the samples, so just before I get started, if you guys are wondering where I got these sounds from, these are all from the UVI World Suite 2. Under the African section there's a djembe drum which has a bunch of different variations, and I just sampled a bunch of hits out of there, and I want to show you guys a really cool technique for tuning these drum samples. Because the instrument itself is actually based on samples, it's not very easy to actually tune them specifically, and because I was going more for a rhythmic thing, I wasn't really paying attention to the tuning, and now afterwards I'm starting to realize that it could use a little bit of cleaning up. Anyway, I want to show you a couple of cool techniques. So, or one in particular, but anyway. So what happens when we start, say for example, I think this key or this pitch, the tone of this djembe sample is around a B. But I think the track we're writing is in G. No, it's in F. Okay, it's in G flat or F sharp. If we, for example, tune this down like 5, actual transposing the sample, it becomes very audible and almost destroys the transient of the sound. And then this is the original again. So how do we get this to fit better into the context without, destroying the transient or too much altering the sound? Because transposing a sample like that does tend to introduce noise and all sorts of stuff like that. The frequency shifter, there's various different ones. I know Ableton I think has one built in, correct me if I'm wrong, it might be with a Max for Live pack or something, but frequency shifters in general are my favorite way of tuning these kinds of drum sounds to fit tonally into a context. So generally disregard this with hi-hats and snares or anything too kind of like white noisy based, but any of these kind of tonal drums like djembes or big drum hits, it can definitely help to shift the frequencies a little bit to fit into the context a little bit better. So how do we do this? Here, I quickly prepared this example for a G, but we could shift this slightly for the G flat. So what I usually do is I will pull up a instance of Curve EQ on this channel, and here what we can do is we can punch in a node at each of the G's. It'll be F sharp for this example, not G. F sharp, double click to punch in a node. Let's go up again, F sharp. It doesn't have to be exact because drums are a variable pitch, so it's not going to be exact, but it's going to fit in a lot better usually. It's not a 100% always works fix, but I've usually found this to work quite well. We're gonna remove this, so it doesn't really matter if we do alter the tone too much by putting these in. I don't think we're gonna have anything too much above F sharp 4. So let's just look at these on the spectrum real quick. Okay, well let me play you the track without this frequency shifting stuff going on. Let's just pop all of these so you can hear what these djembes sound like in context to the track. So, okay, back to what we're doing. Let's open up an instance of Curve EQ. And now we can have a look at this spectrum as we adjust a frequency shifter. So I'm actually going to remove these two instances that I added here for this. And I'm just going to add in another instance over here. So you got to decide what you think sounds best, downwards or upwards. But the idea is to get that kind of like that fundamental tone to sit on this little dot over here. And then the idea is to expand that onto the other channels and get them to each kind of sit. You know, you don't have to go with the actual octave, like the fundamental key of the bass. You can go with a fifth as well. That also works. But just to keep things simple for this tutorial, I'm going to stick with the F sharp or G flat, whatever you want to call it. Okay, then it's all about EQing them, and what I usually do then is I'll group them so that it kind of sounds like it's one instrument, and then process them individually, but I will EQ them separately to get them to kind of like fit a little bit better as a whole. As you can hear, some of them are a little bit boomy, some of them go a little bit high pitched, and then some of those kind of like higher frequencies get a little bit too much. So I'm going to EQ those individually, send them to a group track, and we can maybe compress that and do some transient shaping there, but we'll see what happens. I also want to show you what it sounds like with and without all those frequency shifts. So this is with. And this is without. Awesome. That's about it for today, guys. Super simple, but I just wanted to show you how effective it can be. Specifically, when you're using these kind of like single hits and, you know, you want to tune individual drums to specific tones, then yeah, it's a great thing to do. And you kind of retain that transient nature of the sound. And yeah, it can be done in patches with phase plant and all sorts of stuff. So it's a super interesting tool. But yeah, for tuning drums, it's essential in my opinion. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, as always, if you like this video and you want to see more and you haven't yet, then consider hitting that subscribe button. See you guys next time.